They call it the City of Angels. Funny, in my 30 years here, I haven't seen a single one. What happened to Henry was a true crime. And if there's one man who deserves to find out the truth, it's his son.
Activision's latest game is True Crime: Streets of LA. It's available now for the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. In the game, you play the role of Nick Kang, a loose cannon cop who works alone, and several other action movie cliches. The game basically kind of sets itself up with the plot of a kind of B-rate generic feeling action movie, and backs that up with gameplay that covers ground in driving, martial arts, and gunplay, as well as some stealth thrown in here and there. The game basically does a good job of keeping it together, but by and large, all the portions of the gameplay feel a little sloppy. The story doesn't really back it up, and Nick Kang himself just is kind of annoying and smarmy from the get-go. So as a result, the game is basically worth a rental, but maybe not much more than that. The most impressive portion of True Crime is that the game models like 240 square miles of Los Angeles. It's pretty accurate. You might not find your local fast food joint, and your apartment might have been turned into like a field or something. But by and large, it's got some landmarks here and there, and the street layout is pretty accurate. It's impressive to see things like freeway interchanges look like the real freeway interchanges and stuff like that. With that much ground to cover, you'll be doing a lot of driving in the game. There aren't really too many driving missions in the game, but you will be tailing suspects as well as trying to lose tails yourself. In addition to that, you'll have to race to certain locations to get there before trouble strikes. And basically the game keeps you on a pretty tight leash. You're always given an objective, a place to go, and there really isn't too much to do outside of that. So a lot of that 240 square miles really kind of goes to waste unless you're really just interested in driving around and looking at the recreation of the city. The driving mechanics itself are a little clunky at times. The steering feels a little stiff. Different cars will, of course, handle differently, and you can also get upgrades along the way through training. And these upgrades include the ability to burn out for speed boosts. You can come to sliding stops, and you also unlock cars as you go. As a gritty Los Angeles cop, Nick Kang is definitely going to have to be packing some heat, so there's a lot of gunplay in the game as well. Nick's weapon of choice are a pair of pistols, and like the cars, you'll upgrade and unlock new weapons as you go. You can also pick up weapons from enemies after you take them out, which is a nice touch because some of them will drop, AK-47s and stuff like that, so you'll be dual-wielding like a pair of rifles and really kind of mowing people down. The aiming system in the game isn't really terribly well thought out. It really kind of takes a long time to lock onto people, though you will get an upgrade that actually makes that lock-on process a lot faster, and another one that makes reloading almost instantaneous. So you can really just kind of lay into the fire button once you've acquired these upgrades, and that's really the key to the game, is just laying waste to stuff as fast as possible. The gunfighting is almost automatic in that sense. You can choose to take people out with a neutralizing shot to the shoulder, but by and large, when you're in the missions, you really don't have to make that choice. You can just kind of fill everybody full of lead, and that's that. The third facet of True Crime's gameplay is unarmed combat, and you'll probably encounter this one most of all. Nick Kang is a martial artist of sorts, and you have a punch, kick, and jump kick button at your disposal when you're fighting like this. A lot of the instances of unarmed combat take place indoors, and in these sections you actually can't control the camera, which, in a nutshell is really dumb, because you really kind of miss out on a lot of the action. You'll have guys kind of walking up at you from a spot where you can't see them, and they'll get an attack in because of that advantage. So that's super annoying. Like the other facets, you can get upgrades, and these upgrades actually, make the fighting system a lot easier to deal with. The basic punches and kicks really don't help that much, and they really don't do very much damage. But eventually you'll unlock additional grapples, some combo attacks, the ability to hit people when they're down, including dropping like a wrestling-style elbow on them, which is a nice touch, and other such moves. The game's pretty good about leading you from mission to mission, but there are random crimes that occur when you're out on the streets without a timed objective. And basically, what this is the police radio will come on and they'll say, hey, we got a speeder, his nickname's the Bandit, he's never been caught. There's a lot of little kind of jokes like that in there, a little Smokey and the Bandit reference. And the random crimes are basically where you kind of decide your good cop, bad cop status. Basically, a meter keeps track of, whether you're a good cop or a bad cop. And basically, the difference between being a good cop and a bad cop is not killing people. So, you take people out with neutralizing shots, or, you arrest people instead of just smoking them, stuff like that. So you'll encounter a street fight. You can solve most of these crimes by just kind of running people over. You just have to make sure you're not going so fast that you kill them, but you just hit them, it'll knock them unconscious, crime solved. Some of the crooks will escalate stuff, there'll be armed robberies and people like that, you have to take out. And there, if you want to be a good cop, you have to shoot them in the arm to take them out as opposed to just gunning them down. You can play the game as a good cop or a bad cop, and the story will kind of branch slightly differently based on your choices, and you'll get different endings. There's 3 endings in total. The storyline in True Crime basically feels kind of ripped out of a kind of direct-to-cable version of an action movie. Basically, you're Nick Kang, this loose cannon cop. They are sure to mention that he's a loose cannon. They're sure to mention that he likes to work alone. He treats his female partner with a whole lot of disrespect right off the get-go, kind of asking her to go get him a coffee and that sort of thing. So he's just kind of a jerk. It's real easy to see that they were maybe kind of going for that kind of loose cannon, Martin Riggs lethal weapon sort of thing. But, the guy's dialogue just doesn't come across with any sort of charm at all. And he really just is kind of a jackass. He's a pretty unlikable character from start to finish.